Welcome back to MidPoint, and once again, welcome veteran Wall Street research analyst Liz Peek and White House correspondent for India America Today, Tejinder Singh. Now, Liz, you talked a little bit ago about the military, so I want to bring that up to Tejinder as well here. So, Mr. Singh, with regard to the military, a massive military that India has, is that military might that India would be willing to partner with America to help them in certain issues, whether it's fighting terrorism or putting boots on the ground in other allied interests around the world?
Definitely. If you see India's role in the UN peacekeeping forces, they're in all their missions, they are there. And Indian military is very, very diverse. And also, if you see the Sikhs who have fought, Sikhs and Gorkhas who have fought during world wars, have their own regiments, and they are very much evident during the UN peacekeeping missions.
So, Liz, let me put it to you then with regard to, certainly India has its problems with Pakistan, and there is a little bit of a rub there between the United States and India over what America does in dealing with Pakistan as well. So, is it possible that we can work together well with India? Absolutely, we have in the past, but can they be a force for us in helping us tamp down some of the problems that we have in that part of the world?
It's really complicated. It's about as complicated as our relationship with Turkey right now, I would say. But for sure, look, India is positioned in the middle of a lot of bad guys, or at least hostile elements. And any kind of relationship we can build with them so that we, A, keep peace, help keep peace between Pakistan and India, two nuclear powers that are, again, right now, in fact, have been in recent weeks engaging in border skirmishes, could be a very important tie-in for the United States with both countries, actually. We have the most complicated relationship with Pakistan because we need to be on good terms with that country in order to be able to pursue Al-Qaeda in the past, now ISIS possibly elements who take refuge in Pakistan. But again, I mean, we should be looking at all of the above in terms of alliances. That may not be possible, but I think with India, on all kinds of commercial and military fronts, we need to do more. I mean, I thought you were going to play in that clip Modi's comments about what a happy coincidence it was that India and the United States arrived at Mars at the same time with their moon, with their space shots, which I thought was a very gentle nudge to the United States that, hey, we are not, as he said at Madison Square Garden, a nation of snake charmers anymore. We have technology, and we have an enormously powerful economy and military. So I think this is like a slam dunk for the United States, and particularly with our pivot to Asia, which really hasn't amounted to very much, and our interest in corralling China. That's something we're very delicate about, mainly because of our business community. Look, they can also take advantage of our growing relationship with India.
Let me ask you, Mr. Singh, how concerned is India then with regard to China? Because certainly Liz brings up some very good points. I mean, there is tension with Pakistan, but with China, the growing element that it is, not just economically, but militarily as well.
Yes, and that's where Prime Minister Modi comes in, because as Gujarat's Chief Minister, he made several trips to China. I remember during his last trip, he had his cards printed on with a red background and in Chinese. So he has been, using China for financial and economic development. But there is another very interesting two-point theory of Mr. Modi when he say he has that locally with the neighbors, it has to be suraksha, means security, and with the friends who are a little far away, business. So that defines that he is looking at it. And one of the actually Modi's close aides talked about how the Modi might have a vision of joining and reviving the SAARC and putting the SAARC together as one monetary union. Can you imagine the potential, like the European Union, if the SAARC gets their act together, it can happen in 5 to 10 years. but in the meantime, we have to see how to normalize relations in the in the neighborhood of India.
All right, we have to then cut our time here short now, but what is going on between India and the United States certainly is good to see, because both nations obviously need each other, two strong democracies, and it will be interesting to see how they manage to put some incidents of the past behind them and move forward. Liz Peek and Mr. Singh, we thank you so much for your time.
Thanks for having me.
All right, later on this
Thank
hour,
you
what
very much
ISIS is doing that is indeed speaking to and turning American teenagers into potential terrorists. And after the break, a house call with some very specific news for those who suffer from diabetes, right here on MidPoint.